Ryan Garcia, man. Tough pill to swallow. Dude comes out there and he is just oozing confidence before this fight, right? Like, if you were reading body language and you were just eyeing people up and you were looking at things and you were looking at Ryan Garcia, you had to believe that this man's confidence was through the roof. I do not believe that was false bravado. I don't think that he was just out there projecting that image. Like, I really, truly believe that he believed that he was going to go out there and get this job done in impressive fashion. Couldn't have been more wrong. Right? Couldn't have been more wrong. But at the same time, he still got some things to pull from this fight. The first round was nothing special by any stretch of the imagination. Yet at the same time, he could look back and say he won that round. How did he do it? He did it by controlling the distance. He did it by not getting too aggressive. He did it by not getting over his front leg. He did it by using the jab to control things. Man, you can learn from that. When he went back to the corner, Joe Goosen told him that's a perfect round. Continue to do the same thing. Goes out there, does something completely different in the second round, ends up getting dropped. Went to the well too many times with the left hook over and over and over. You see Gervonta Davis getting underneath this left hook. He's shooting it and he's getting underneath it. So what does he do? He continues to go to the left hook. And after he does it one too many times in a row and he's out of position because he's getting turned and he's getting overly aggressive and he's throwing it too hard and his chin's up, he gets caught and he gets dropped. Now look, on the one hand, you would have to look back and you'd have to think, this is the same thing that we've seen over and over again. He's continually repeating himself. That's not that good. That's not good. On the other hand, you think, the guy's super young. There's got to be some way that we can get him out of this habit. There's got to be something that we can build and learn from that. Energy kind of changed at that point. Goes on to lose the next few rounds. But in the sixth round, starts shooting the right hand. Starts listening a little bit more. Starts shooting that right hand. He's making some good connections with it. I gave him the sixth round. Came out in the seventh. Started continued to use the right hand. Again, landing it and looking good. Again, he gets overly aggressive with that left hook. Gervonta slips underneath it. Catches him with a nasty body shot. Game over. And then afterwards, dude, all of a sudden we see this thing happen where Joe Goosen, Oscar De La Hoya, and Bernard Hopkins don't show up to the press conference. Now look, off the top of my head, I wouldn't have really thought anything about it. And apparently I would have missed it because it is a thing, it seems like. But everybody starts to point it out. And all kinds of people say all kinds of things in boxing. So when I'm first starting to see and hear about it, I'm not really paying it that much mind. Right? Like, it is what it is sometimes. But it does stand out a little bit to me. And I'm kind of asking myself the question, but we'll see what happens. And then all of a sudden, Oscar De La Hoya comes out with this response video talking about the death threats.
But I do want to clarify why Bernard Hopkins and I weren't at the post-fight press conference. Bernard Hopkins was accused during the weigh-in of having testosterone cream on his hands and touching Gervonta Davis. PBC, Gervonta's promoter, banned them from everything. As for myself, my security team told me, boss, we got to get out of here because I received death threats.
And it was at that point that it really gained some validity for me, because I'm like, Oscar De La Hoya felt the need to go out here and make a video to address everything that's happening. He didn't say it in closed doors behind Ryan Garcia. He didn't go out and he didn't already. Why? And you would have to think that if he was in a situation where this was really what was going on, he would have told Ryan Garcia beforehand, which means, again, he wouldn't have needed to make a video just to respond to the fans, to the press, to whatever it is that's going on. The fact that he made the video to come out, man, I don't know. Not a good look. If you ask me, not a good look at all. And it was funny because in the video he mentioned, I've been getting death threats all week, so they told me it wasn't safe to go. And you've been getting death threats all week. And you made it to every media event prior to this. And then as soon as your guy loses, he's nowhere to be seen. So not a good look. Interesting situation. And then on top of everything else, Ryan Garcia puts the tweet out. Dude, it was like the icing on the cake, right? It was like just dropping the cherry on top. Think about how he would have had to feel to put that tweet out. If he would have known exactly what was going on and he would have known that Oscar was getting Oscar and Bernard were getting the death threats, why would he have to put that tweet out? Again, it seems like it's all justification for things, all trying to cover up this and that. Nevertheless, all of it brings me back to one point. Tough pill to swallow for Ryan Garcia when it's all said and done. But the question remains, what's going to be next for the man? dude, he's still incredibly popular. Like I said, I think he's got things to build on from that fight. So what's next? We know he's going to 140. We already knew that he was going to be back up at 140 before he even fought this one. 135 was never going to be an option anymore, and I highly doubted that the man was going to all of a sudden start making up his own weight class at 137, 138, whatever the case may be. So he's at 140. Now, should he be going out there and fighting a guy like Prograis? No, not at all. Worst decision you could make. Should he even be out there fighting a guy like Josh Taylor or Teofimo Lopez? Again, that's experience. That's who Rolly Romero is fighting. So personally, I think Rolly Romero is going to end up winning that fight. He's going to end up snatching up that belt, 140 pounds. Dude, they've both fought Tank. They both lost by knockout. They're both young. They've both been talking back and forth a lot. Dude, that is the perfect fight to come back to because Rolly Romero is a limited fighter. Ryan Garcia is already at the point where I don't think he can go out there and fight a no-name guy that you've never heard of, a complete bum. Maybe he could get away with it like once, maybe twice if he spread it out, just like a true tune-up fight. So he's kind of in this weird spot. Like his fans and people expect him to fight world-class talent, but this dude's got some major flaws in his game. So he's kind of at this point where he needs to fight people who have enough popularity. He needs to fight people who will be considered credible or legitimate opponents, but they can't just, he can't go out there and fight Shakur Stevenson or Gervonta Davis or all of these guys without coming up on a short end of the stick. Like, dude, he's not at that level right now. He's got incredible potential. He's got the sky's the ceiling. Like, whatever you want to say, this dude could end up doing it all, but he's not doing it now. He's not beating Loma. He's not beating Haney. He's not beating Shakur Stevenson. He's not beating Gervonta Davis. He's not going out there. Rolly Romero at 140 pounds is a fight that would bring in a lot of money, awesome build-up. There'd be a world title on the line, so this dude could then end up saying that he was a world titleist should he end up getting the win. I think it's a perfect setup, but who am I, the matchmaker? Who am I? Am I the guy managing or advising him? No, hardly. I guess we'll end up seeing what happens, though, but I look forward to seeing him coming back in the fall. Like I said, I think he has things that he can really build on from this fight. I said it going into the fight. He's got the flaws, but at the same time, every single thing is something that he has the ability to work on, and he has the ability to work on it with great physical tools. It's not like he's got slow hands and he needs to figure out ways to cover that up. It's not like he's not athletic. It's not like he doesn't have balance. It's not like he doesn't have power. He's got all kinds of great things going for him. He needs to marry the technique to it. He needs to marry the skill. That's when you'll see something special happen. So, let me know what you guys think. Were you impressed with the performance he put out there? What do you want to see him fight next? At 140 pounds, do you think he's got any future? Can he end up getting better? I mean, we look. Let's not forget this. Let's not forget something here. He left camp with Eddie. He left Eddie Reynoso, and when he left, we saw Reynoso saying he wasn't dedicated and he needed to train more. We saw Canelo saying that he wasn't dedicated and he needed to train more. Prior to this fight, Joe Goosen said, "You don't really train Ryan Garcia. You partner with him. The man's got ideas about how he wants things to happen." And then he covered it up. He's right 99% of the time. He's got a great mind. He's brilliant. He's like this trainer's mind inside the boxer's body and all that. But I think if you read between the lines a little bit, he's letting you know that he's not the easiest guy for taking advice. He may not necessarily be the most trainable, teachable guy. He may not necessarily always want to hear what you have to say or agree with you. It's not good when fighters take control of their own camps. It's not good when fighters decide the things that they want to work on and train. Doesn't work out the best. When you are fighting world-class talent, you need to allow yourself to be taught. You need to allow yourself to be coachable. You need to allow yourself to be in just this beat down, unmotivated place and still take instruction. You need to have an idea of what you're going to think in your head, but still listen to this dude who's been doing it for around the game for decades. He was around the game before you were even around, and you think he was good enough that you hired him to train you and you're paying him all this money. You may want to take some of that advice. So I don't know exactly what happens in the camp. We're only talking about the things that we hear and we see, but this is now two people. Interesting. And both of those trainers, they're not nobodies. So is he going to be able to put it together? Is he going to be able to be taught? Is he going to be able to fix these flaws? Or is he going to become, a super popular fighter that's top 10? Let me know what you guys think.